Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Hub back into the video today, and today the Dallas Cowboys beat the Los Angeles Chargers 20-17 on Monday Night Football. Good win for the Dallas Cowboys. Their defense looks pretty good against a good Chargers offense today. Austin Eckler returned for the Chargers. Only had 14 carries, though, had 27 yards, but made a decent impact on the receiving end for the Chargers. And Herbert looked solid, while Dak Prescott looked better for the Cowboys. And Herbert did throw a game-losing interception to Stephon Gilmore, who made key mistakes for this Cowboys defense early on in the game. There was a pass interference call on him against Keenan Allen in one of the final Chargers drives, which ended up in a touchdown for Gerald Everett. And Stephon Gilmore redeems himself by getting an interception to win the game for the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott looked good, I will say that. I'm not going to ignore that. He looked good after a terrible game, throwing 3 interceptions against the 49ers and losing 42-10. Or was it was either 42-10, 45-10, something like that. They just got whooped by the 49ers last week. And, I thought Dak looked way better. 21 for 30, 272 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, also had a 20-yard touchdown run. But you can still see this Cowboys team is still struggling a little bit in the red zone. Fourth quarter, they struggled to put in the end zone. On their last drive, they had to settle for a field goal and try to trust their defense, which is very easy to trust the Cowboys defense with how good of a defense they have. But they had to kick a 39-yard field goal. Were not able to score a touchdown with 2 minutes remaining when they were, I believe, at the 20-yard line, which is at the red zone. Or they were at maybe the 21 or the 22, which is just outside of the red zone. And then I know it's the end of the half, but they were going on a really good drive at the end of the second quarter. I believe there was 20 seconds left, and they were going on 1 minute. In 1 minute, in 6 plays, they went 57 yards. They were at the 16 or the 15-yard line, and they had to settle for 3. That one I can understand, because that one you're trying to go and get 3 points before the half, and that's not that one right there for me. It's not that upsetting, because you're going to halftime. You want to take a chance and try to score a touchdown and fail, and then not be able to get any points at all. So I understand that one in the second quarter, but still red zone struggles. They had a chance to put in the end zone, they couldn't do it. And then the fourth quarter as well, they took a shot to Tony Pollard in the end zone. So there's some good defense by the Chargers, and like I said, the Cowboys looked good tonight, but there were still some red zone struggles by them, which has been one of their biggest problems on offense to start this season. And I think this offense has good potential if they can fix their red zone mistakes. And yeah, let's get into it. All right, getting to the scoring summary. So first quarter, you had scores in every quarter: first, second, third, and fourth. First quarter, you have 2 touchdowns for both teams. After that, it was pretty low scoring up until the fourth quarter. It was low scoring pretty much all game. It was only 37 points in the ballgame as the Cowboys win it 20-17. So first quarter, Justin Herbert throws a 1-yard touchdown pass to Keenan Allen. It's 7-0. Then on a 4th down and 1, not a bad call by the Cowboys, was risky, but was a great play. Dak Prescott with a brilliant fake for an 18-yard touchdown run. The ballgame is tied with 6 minutes remaining in the first. No more scores in the first quarter. It's 7-7. Then rough second quarter. You would not see any points be put on the board until the last drive with a minute remaining, or when they got the ball back. When they got the ball to start, there was exactly 59 seconds remaining, and Brandon Aubrey would knock in a 32-yard field goal, and it's 10-7. Then the only score in the third quarter. I love Cameron Dicker as a Longhorns fan, former Longhorns kicker. Cameron Dicker knocks in a 24-yard field goal, and the ballgame is tied at 10. So, continuing that low-scoring game between 2 solid defenses. The Cowboys, great defense. Chargers, solid defense. They're not solid. They have above-average defense. And then fourth quarter, you have 3 scores. 2 for the Cowboys, 1 for the Chargers. The Cowboys take a lead when Dak Prescott throws a touchdown to Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks, this was a 2-yard touchdown pass, by the way. Brandon Cooks was way better in this game. They traded a 5th-round pick and a 7th-round pick for this guy, and he has really not been that promising at all. Going into tonight's game, he only had 75 receiving yards. Him and Dak have not really been able to connect so far going into this game. I think that's been, going into the season, I felt like Brandon Cooks, a guy who, with the Texans last year, nearly had 1,000 receiving yards. The only reason he didn't get it because I think he only played like 13 or 14 games out of 17. But 2020 and 2021 season was a 1,000-yard wide receiver with the Texans, and it has been good in years past with the Patriots and the Rams, and in the couple years he played for those two teams, and just him and Dak haven't really been able to connect well. He still wasn't that great tonight, but way better night for Brandon Cooks. And he kind of finally showed some decent stuff on offense. He probably had half of the wide receiving yards that he's had this season so far. But Dak threw a 2-yard touchdown pass to him, and it is a 17-10 lead for the Cowboys. So then another short touchdown pass. You had the Herbert to Keenan Allen, 1-yard touchdown. Then you had Dak to Cooks, 2-yard touchdown. Now you have Justin Herbert with a 1-yard touchdown pass to Gerald Everett. And Dicker's extra point is good. Dicker, the kicker, and the volume is tied at 17. Then with 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining, Brandon Aubrey would make a 40-yard field goal, and it's 20-17. All right, game leaders, passing yards for the Cowboys, 21 for 30 with 272 passing yards and 1 passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown for Dak Prescott, while Justin Herbert with 22 for 37 and 227 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 interception. Rushing yards for the Cowboys, Dak Prescott led them in rushing yards as well. 7 carries, 40 yards, and 1 touchdown. Austin Eckler, his first game back since week 1, 14 carries, 27 rushing yards. Receiving yards, CeeDee Lamb for the Cowboys, 7 receptions, 117 receiving yards, and Keenan Allen, 7 receptions for 85 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. All right, getting into some other stats, the guy I talked about, Brandon Cooks, definitely was way more emergent than he's been in the past. He had almost 75% of the yards. He probably had about 70% of the yards he's had in the season so far in tonight's game. He had 1 carry for 14 yards on a jet sweep, and he had 4 receptions for 36 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. So way better performance from Brandon Cooks. Also, Tony Pollard was not that effective in the run game with 15 carries for 30 rushing yards, but he made a big effort with the receiving end with 6 receptions for 80 receiving yards, had a big 60-yard reception. That's really where a chunk of his yards come from, or a huge part of where his yards come from. Michael Gallup was quiet tonight. Him and Dak couldn't keep it going. He had some good coverage on him with 3 receptions for 24 receiving yards and was targeted 10 times. The tight end, Jake Ferguson, with 1 reception for 15 receiving yards. Some other stats for the Chargers offensively, Austin Eckler, besides his 14 carries and 27 yards, Justin Herbert had 6 carries for 20 yards, or 6 runs for 20 yards. Besides Keenan Allen, Joshua Palmer, 4 receptions for 60 receiving yards. Austin Eckler, 4 receptions for 35 receiving yards. And Gerald Everett with 3 receptions for 16 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. And Justin Herbert, I was not watching the game when this happened, but Justin Herbert had 1 reception for 10 receiving yards. So I'm guessing, I believe this is the only way it happened, or maybe they did a Philly special against the Dallas Cowboys. But I'm guessing that Herbert, I guess that would be considered a run play if Justin Herbert did the Marcus Mariota get deflected by a pass and get deflected on a pass, then catch the ball and take it for 10 yards. Or maybe they went with a sneak play, not a sneak play. I guess they went with a trick play and maybe threw it to Herbert. Who knows? I wasn't watching then, so I guess I'll have to go look back now and go look at some of the highlights. All right, fumbles. There was that weird play on the punt where Jalen Tolbert fumbled. It was law. He lost the fumble and it was recovered by I'm not going to try to say his last name. Amen. I'll try it. Amen Ogabung Ogabung. I'm just gonna call him Ogbo. I think it's better to call him Amen Ogbo. He recovered the fumble for the Chargers on that weird punt play. Defensive stats for the Cowboys, they had only 1 sack with 2 tackles for loss. Their 1 sack went to Micah Parsons, of course. And their leader in tackles was Damon Clark with 8 tackles. And their 2 tackles for loss was, of course, Micah Parsons with that sack, which is his tackle for loss. And also Donovan Wilson had a tackle for loss. All right. Defensive stats for the Chargers, they had 5 sacks in the game. 2 sacks for Morgan Fox. Khalil Mack had a sack He's coming off a 6 sacks performance. Nick Williams with 1 sack, and the other sack went to Sebastian Joseph Day. On the day, the Chargers had 7 tackles for loss. Interceptions, the only interception in this ballgame was Stephon Gilmore's game-winning interception. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed my thoughts on the game, and peace out.